serviceable, catches the ball well, and he doesn't run the ball that bad. I don't think it's a bad pick. If you could go back years and go, hey, we're gonna draft Travis Kelce, you would be like, do it.
Travis Kelce, though.
We're gonna see. But the guy is the best route running tight end that's come out since Kelce, and is a nightmare matchup for any linebacker. I don't care who it is.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Beard Zone Sports Talk. My name is David. I got Carlos with me tonight. And Carlos, the draft is over. All the speculation is now done. The dust has settled, and we are here to give every team their draft grade. And full disclosure, Carlos, I don't think we appreciate how hard it is to be an NFL GM and to really try and pick the guys, because let's be real, you don't know who you're going to get. There has been guys that have come into this league and we didn't think twice about their name, and they have now turned themselves into pretty much the face of the NFL. Look at Patrick Mahomes. And then there were other guys who we thought were surefire studs. This guy's going to be, Pro Bowler, going to lead his team to the Super Bowl. And he was a complete bust. So, I mean, you really, truly don't know what these teams got until these guys are out there on the field. But we like to play the game. We like to play along. So we're going to give our personal opinions of these teams' draft grades. We're going to go 1 through 16 tonight. And then next Friday will be 17 through 32. And then we'll be jumping into our way too early predictions and breaking down every NFL division leading up to OTAs and preseasons. So we are in the final stretch. So almost there, Carlos. Hold strong, sir. Hold strong.
I'm so ready. Because then when we go back and look at our way too early predictions for a team, we're like, the Jets are 16-1. That didn't happen.
I don't think I'll ever live that down. I don't think I'll ever be able to live that down. But let's move into this. Carlos, you got the Miami band behind you. Tennessee had the first overall pick. Let's talk about what they did in the draft, starting with Cam Ward at number 1 overall. I love what they did with the draft. I don't think they reached for anybody. I think they allowed the talent to fall to them. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, no trades or anything else like that. And I mean, I feel like that they addressed everything that they needed, and they got their franchise quarterback. So, how do you feel about Tennessee?
Yeah, I'm with you. Their whole draft is based off Cam Ward. If he is a hit, this draft is an A. If he's a bust, then it's a C. But no, I like it. They get their quarterback of the future. Hopefully, I'm a fan of Cam Ward. I just think he doesn't relax, and it's weird to say that about Cam Ward. But he's always working. He's working hard. I actually like their second pick, the guy from UCLA. And I'm going to pull one page out of your book here.
I actually had the pronunciation right here.
All right.
So it's going to be Oluwafemi. It's Oladejo. So, But this guy from the edge, I was going to say, I really like this pick. I think he's a great edge rusher. But what were you going to say?
No, I'm with it. He actually transferred from Cal, but not off season, in season. So, and he was able to come in right away. I think it's a good pick. I like their pick with their tight end with Gunnar Helm. I think he's another Jake Ferguson. So it'll give them a weapon there that they need. They even addressed wide receiver a little bit with I hate to say his last name, Dyke from Florida State. Not a big, but they addressed it with Tyler Lockett. So I think they addressed everything they needed. They got a safety in Winston Jr. I think is a good pick from Penn State. He actually would have been drafted higher if it wasn't for a injury he had. So he would have been up there, I think, with Malik Starks and Imawari. I think he actually would have went ahead of Imawari. So I like the draft. They they did what they needed to do, got some players, and now they just have to see if they pan out.
Yeah, it will all pan out, or Time will tell with all of these draft picks. My favorite pick with Tennessee wasn't even a draft pick, but it was when they went out and they signed the undrafted free agent and Xavier Restrepo.
Freppo.
This kid, dude, I mean, Miami kid, Cam Ward, he's familiar with him. You know, we saw great chemistry between him and Xavier. Dude, I think that that's a very solid pick, and I don't know how this guy didn't go drafted. I really don't.
This happens to some of them, man. He didn't have the best pro day and didn't run a fast 40, but him and Cam wanted him. Even the GM said when they make the call to Restrepo from the 4th round on, Cam was like, draft him, draft him, draft him.
Yeah.
So good chemistry there. It's somebody that Cam knows, and I think surprisingly, this kid's going to get some playing time. He's going to make the team.
Oh yeah, I think so too. And Cam Ward has already gotten the nod from the legend, Warren Moon. He's going to be able to wear number 1 in Tennessee, so that's pretty cool as well. But I think Tennessee, I think they addressed all of their team needs. Like I said, I don't think that they went out of their way to reach and grab someone. They kind of allowed everyone to fall to them, and they did. They built around the Cam Ward pick. So, but let's move on to the second pick. And it was supposed to be the Cleveland Browns, but then they ended up making a move with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jaguars were like, hey, we have this kid named Travis Hunter that is coming into the league, and we want him. And I think that this guy, I love what the Jaguars did. They went up, they got Travis Hunter, they got the generational talent. Liam Cohen, although Travis Hunter comes into the NFL as a defensive back, right? But he's going to play both sides of the ball. And with Liam Cohen and what he's going to be able to draw up on offense, I'm excited to see what they do here. But then but it's crazy because they had the 2nd overall pick, and then they had the 89th pick or 88th pick or something crazy like that. So definitely, a long time before they saw that second player off the board. But again, I think that they got everything that they needed to get. And getting the best player off of the board and going and getting him, I love that move.
Yeah, I think they were. It's definitely going to be impactful. So Jacksonville's came out and said that they're going to put Hunter in the wide receiver room. Him and Brian Thomas are going to be the staples, and that his defense, if he plays, is just going to be, hey, go guard so and so. So, but it's going to be interesting what they do. I think it's a good pick. I think Jacksonville is desperate for a face of their franchise. When you think Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence he hasn't taken that role. There's just go back years. There's no if you mention the Bucks, you got Mike Evans. If you mention the Dolphins, it's Tyreek Hill. When you mention Jacksonville, you're like, I don't know, it's not Trevor Etienne. So they needed that face. The superstar sells jerseys. I think it's a good move on their part to go and get him. And like you say, he's going to fill 2 roles. He's going to play both ways. He's too good for that. But I actually like their 4th round pick with Tutton out of Virginia Tech, the running back. I like this guy. He's going to bring a little bit different style than Etienne, but he's faster than Etienne. He's going to take some snaps from Etienne for sure. I like that pick from them.
I do too. It definitely adds depth, and we're seeing it more and more in the NFL. You have remember when a few years back when Bill Belichick was with the New England Patriots and the 2 tight end system was almost like a necessity for any successful offense. Now I think that we're going to the running backs, and you need 2 running backs to have a successful backfield, unless if you have someone, of course, like a Saquon Barkley with the offensive line that he has. But, I mean, we're seeing more and more 2 teams or 2 running backs on a team that kind of split the time and, kind of give that thunder and lightning. And that's what I think the Jaguars did with Travis Etienne, because Travis, he hasn't shown that he can be the workhorse. He hasn't shown that he can be, take on that full workload. So, but again, overall, I'm going to be very honest with you, Carlos. Overall, I was really not disappointed with any team in the draft. There were a couple, and we'll get to them. But for the most part, I mean, this was such a deep class. It was hard to not have a good draft. It was just so hard. But Let's go on to the New York Giants. They had the third overall pick. There was a lot of speculation. Hey, are they going to get Shadur Sanders? Will Travis Hunter fall to them? Where are they going to go? And I think that they went with the right move and they got Abdul Carter. That defensive line, I don't care what anybody says. On paper, right now, that is the best defensive line in the NFL. They can't, you can't argue. You have Dexter Lawrence. You have Abdul Carter. You have Kevin Thibodeau. You have Brian Burns. What? I mean, just all pros, all the way across the board. Now, of course, again, Abdul Carter, will he pan out? Probably, right?
Yeah.
But you don't know. But I loved what the Giants did. I love that they got up and they moved up to get Jackson Dart. I don't think that they could have maybe had him fall to him, but why? You don't know what's going on. I mean, we saw Sheduer fall all the way to the 5th round, right?
Yeah.
So you just didn't know what's going on. I like Jackson Dart. We had a lot of high praises for Jackson Dart. My favorite pick of this team was my guy from Arizona and Scatabo. I love that pick. And let's not forget, he's going to be that 1-2 punch with Tyrone Tracy, who had a great rookie year last year. I love what the Giants did. I really do.
I think they got, and I hate if you got to be stuck with a player, I think they get stuck with Abdul Carter. I think they try to make an attempt to trade back, no takers, just because of the amount of edge rushers that there was in this draft. So I don't think they find a taker. But if there's a guy you got to get stuck with, it's Carter. I mean, it's not a bad consolation prize, but I do like it. That defensive line's a little crowded because it looks like Thibodeau's coming back to the Giants. So they add toughness with Scatabo. I'm iffy on the Jackson Dart thing. I'm up and down with it. I just don't know if we're gonna have to see with this guy. He put up some good numbers in Ole Miss. He just isn't the most athletic. There's some butts about him that we're gonna see. But the good butt is he's got time. They're gonna do a Green Bay Packer thing here. He's going to sit. He's got a guy in front of him. So he's going to learn how to do interviews from Jameis, and he's going to learn football from Russell Wilson. So that's the good thing for Jackson Dart. I do like Scatabo. They added toughness, even with Darius Alexander, another defensive lineman that they have from Toledo. They add toughness to the team, and I think that's what the Giants need in that division. So they did a good job of adding some tough pieces to it.
Yeah. I really did like what the Giants did. Again, time will tell with Jackson Dart. I think a lot of people are kind of hit or miss with it. I love the pick. But that's just me. I was a big Jackson Dart fan coming into this draft. So let's go to the team at number 4, the New England Patriots. Can I just say something? I think that they had the best draft. I truly do. They did so good at getting players, and man, I mean, you want to talk about getting some real Will Campbell in his interview on stage at the draft saying, "I'm going to fight and die to protect Drake May." That's the kind of mentality that you want in an offensive lineman. That is the mentality that you want. And then they go on and they get the home run hitter, which their offense has extremely been lacking with, in Travion Henderson from Ohio State. And he's a home run hitter. And then they continue to add, depth pieces, on defensive side of things. Mike Vrabel is obviously there. I think he's building something really special there in New England just with his first draft as head coach. I love what New England did. I personally believe that they probably had the best draft.
Yeah, I'm not going to agree with you because they get a short arm tackle and Will Campbell. I'm going to find every flaw that I can. They get a running back who's hurt. So, no, they did have a good draft. I mean, Will Campbell's a safe pick. Henderson will provide that electricity they need they don't get from Stevenson. They haven't really had a running back for a long time. They do some things. I think Jared Wilson, the center out of Georgia, was a good pick for them as well. So they upgrade that offensive line. Yeah, they had a good draft. I don't like some of the picks. The Joshua Farmer at FSU, it's gonna be a kind of a wait and see for him. But he's a big dude that can clog up some space there. Also, I thought they did a good job with the guy out of LSU and at the edge with Swinson, yes.
Yes.
So I think he's going to give them a little bit off the edge that they also need. So they did a good. They addressed what they need to address. Give Drake some protection in two ways. One with the center, a tackle, and a guy who can catch screen passes. And that's a great way to protect your quarterback to get the ball out of his hands very quickly. So
Yeah.
we'll have to see with them. It's a good draft. I like it, but it is New England, and I kind of hope that everybody that blows an Achilles.
Yeah. Fair enough. I don't think anybody of a Miami fan base would disagree with you, Carlos. I really don't. And if they did, I would question their loyalty to the team. So, but I like what New England did. But let's go to the Cleveland Browns. So the Cleveland Browns, they traded back from the number 2 spot. They got to number 5. They got Mason Graham to go alongside with Myles Garrett. I think that is a great pick. I mean, a lot of people were kind of questioning it. Mason Graham is going to be an absolute nightmare on that defensive line, especially him learning from, I mean, let's be honest, probably the greatest defensive lineman that's in the league right now, or at least one of them, right? I mean, Myles Garrett. So, and then they go on, they get Judkins, right, from Ohio State. Probably the better of the two backs, ultimately, from Travion Henderson. Nick Chubb, he's not there anymore. Obviously had a lot of injuries, so they get Judkins, who's going to be able to be a little bit more reliable. My biggest thing, though, with this is my biggest takeaway. And this is there was a part that really irked me. This quarterback room has got to be the most dysfunctional quarterback room I've ever seen.
It's not going to be good.
Who's your guy? Like, why I didn't understand the Dylan Gabriel pick and then the Sheduer Sanders pick. Why did you take both of them? And then you brought in Kenny Pickett for this offseason. You brought back Joe Flacco, and you still have Deshaun Watson there. This quarterback room is a mess. And so to me, although, yeah, great, you added great pieces, who's running this right now? No one.
Yeah, I'm with you. You got an old guy that's out of touch in Flacco, who still can play a little bit, but then you bring in
start.
Yeah, I think what happened was they picked Gabriel, but I don't think the Browns thought that Sheduer Sanders would fall that far. And at some point, you take a chance, but they're adding competition, so that can't be a bad thing. It's just we're gonna see how these personalities mesh with Shedora and Dylan Gabriel and Kenny Pickett. I think Flacco being the old guy is not going to care. And I didn't even know Deshaun Watson's just picking up a paycheck, man. The best thing that could happen to him was getting hurt. I just don't think this guy ever comes back. I like the Mason Graham. They did get a first round draft pick out of it next year, so it's a big win for them. So they can start their rebuild that's been going on for, 50 years. So I do like the Dylan Sampson pick they're in there in round 4. I like him. He's fast. He's going to add some dynamic to him that Judkins can't add, but I like the 1-2 punch that's young on there. So I think they did a really good job there. I am with you a little bit. I don't like that they did draft Dylan Gabriel and Sanders. Like, this draft could be a home run for them if Sanders turns out to be an QB1. I mean, if he's QB1 and turns out that he's actually good, it's a steal, 5th round pick. There are just too many. There's a lot of ifs. I'm not a Dylan Gabriel fan. I don't think he's a good quarterback. The rest is good. They get Schlesinger out of UCLA. He's a good player. But they dress so much on the defensive side. They only dress really the quarterback and running back, which they did need, but they're still, I don't know who's going to catch the ball there, but they just got a lot of stuff. But it is going to be a interesting. Hopefully, Hard Knocks goes to Cleveland. I would love to see what's going to go on the sidelines here.
You
with
know what?
Dion.
They probably will because Sheduer. And
Yeah.
can we just say something really quick? I want to say something. I don't want to be another one of those podcasts. Although we're nothing big. I'm not going to sit here and talk about Sheduer all day long. He didn't go where he didn't go top, which is exactly. I think that's the right call. I think that the reason why he fell was because he sucked in his interviews and he didn't win in Colorado. Uh, I don't care I don't care who your dad was. Who are you? I saw an interview with Jason Light today, and Jason Light, because they were talking about him, 30. So here's a statistic for Jason Light: 38 players that Jason Light drafted between I think like 2018 and current. All 38 players were on an NFL roster last year.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, right? So they were talking about where he finds success, and of course he praised the scouting team and everything. But he goes, we don't look at just the player, we look at the person. And he goes, we've taken a lot of really good players off of our board because of the person who they are. And I think that's just what happened with Sheduer. I think that he's just too big for himself. He has to realize where he is and who he is.
Well, I heard people talk, and we talked about this at the draft in the comparison. Like maybe he's not as good as he thinks he is. And is Travis Hunter his Mike Evans to Johnny Manziel, where Evans made Manziel just that much better? Maybe it's just maybe Shador's not as good as we think he is, and he's been spoon fed, at Jacksonville State and then Colorado. It's always been about him, and I think that's why Colorado didn't win, because they didn't go out and get a running game. They only got guys who could pass block, and they weren't that good. And why would you want to be a running back when everything's about Sheduer? So I think they're their own worst enemy, but we're going to find out. Did Travis Hunter make Sheduer better than what he was? And according to every NFL scout and team, I think so. I don't care about your attitude. At some point, if you're a great quarterback or a good quarterback, you're going to get picked. There's been guys with bad attitudes, Johnny Manziel, even Baker was a party guy. I hear all these things that's going on, of different things about Sheduer. Sometimes you just got to look at facts. Maybe he's just really not that good. I get it. Stats are there. But Andre Ware had stats. Jamarcus Russell had stats. Ryan Leaf had stats. And so on and so on. Great quarterbacks, great college quarterbacks, and they all bust. Stats is not what it's just numbers on paper, man.
Yeah.
When it comes to college, so maybe there's something missing, and there's got to be. I just don't think that many teams would have passed on him that many rounds. I get what comes with him, but there's been quarterbacks in the past that even Ryan Leaf was he had a bad attitude, but the guy, they still drafted him because they were, he was a good quarterback. But something's going on. We'll find out as time goes on, and who knows? At some point, he may not even be on the Cleveland Browns in a few years. It is the Cleveland Browns, so.
It is. I mean, it's the quarterback graveyard. But there was so many. There were so. So what's funny is that, like, listening to the narrative this week about Sheduer, everyone was like, every NFL team was like, no, we don't have Sheduer high. Like, we just don't. This whole thing that he might go in the top round or in the top 5, that was media. That was just media running with that narrative. No team. And it's obvious. There were several quarterbacks that went before Sheduer Sanders. So, but time will tell. Time will tell for everyone. Maybe Sheduer comes out and he balls out. Who knows, right? Maybe he is the ends of the Cleveland Browns graveyard. But
I don't think he does. When you look at the workout, when you look at the workout tapes between him and Cam Ward, and you see the zip on the ball that Cam Ward is throwing compared to Sheduer, and Sheduer's got to go get a water break after the first drill. I think it's a character issue, and teams don't want to deal with it. Like you can't. It's going to be too hard to fix that,
Yeah.
and they don't want to deal with it. And nobody's going, man, Sheduer's 65-yard bomb. It was none of that going on. So, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, time will again, time will always tell. But let's go on to the to the Las Vegas Raiders. They were another team that could possibly take Shador in the rumor mill, here at 6. But they went with the good pick. I think that they went the right pick. They got Ashton Jeanty, but then they didn't only get Ashton Jeanty. Then they went out and they got Caleb Rogers, and then they got Charles Grant. They got 2 offensive linemen who I think can be long-term answers there for that offense. And the Pete Russell and the Pete Carroll, I don't know why I said that, but in the Pete Carroll offense, man, dude, this is looking like a Pete Carroll offense. You got Jeanty, now you're starting to beef up your offensive line. Geno Smith, he has a familiar, he's familiar with Pete Carroll, and the offense that Pete likes to run. So I love what the Raiders did, and I'm very excited. But it all starts with Jeanty, right? If Jeanty doesn't pan out to be who we think he's gonna be, it doesn't matter. But if he does, man, the Raiders could see a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I think it's a safe pick. I can't imagine this guy not panning out. I think it's a safe pick, but you're right. They get a couple offensive linemen. Get William Murray guy with Grant. He's going to have a high IQ. And then you get the Texas Tech with Rodgers, and the pass blocking, and he's a good run blocker as well. So they're building up what they need to, and it's always from the inside out. And so it starts with the trenches, and it never hurts to have a great running back, a guy who makes your offensive line look better, and that's what Genty's going to do for at least the first year, because they're not quite there. But the team is getting Genty's going to open a lot up for those guys. The play action. It's definitely their best pick. And then they get Beck out of TCU as the wide receiver. It's a little scary because last time a TCU wide receiver came out, he didn't pan out so well. Stonehands.
No, but I like him. I do like him. I like the other guy too, though. So
yeah, and I think they did well. They had a lot of picks this year, and they're addressing needs that they need. The Raiders just need people to stay healthy. That's their one thing. Their defense just couldn't stay healthy. So, but it's a good pick with Jeanty. I think he's going to open up a lot for that team.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm really excited to see. Do you think he's just going to stand like he did?
He's 100% going to do that weird Undertaker stand and just look at everybody. And the silver and black is going to look mean.
Dude, it's going to look
mean.
Can you imagine if the NFL didn't get all butthurt about what players wear? And could you imagine if he comes out with a Justin Tucker face mask and he just stands in the black and silver? Oh my God, dude!
Give him a visor.
Give him a dark visor.
Yeah.
Dude, it would be so awesome.
Yeah.
And he's a big dude too. So I mean,
he's not shy of bending a few frying pans. He's gonna be all right.
Yeah. I can't wait. I really cannot wait to see it. That's gonna be fun to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun to see. So, but let's move on to the New York Jets. I had to say something really quick. New York Jets, I feel like, have the same draft every year. Am I wrong in feeling that? They got an offensive tackle, they got a stud offensive tackle, and Mimbo. I like the pick. Should be a safe pick. But the last time that they drafted an offensive tackle, he's no longer there. You got a tight end, decent tight end. It's hard.
Yeah, I don't know if this is actually a good draft, but they did draft 2 Miami Hurricanes, so I'm like, oh man, I don't know. They got me so twisted here. They get Magnoa, the linebacker, and then Tyler Barron, but they didn't get 2 Miami Hurricanes that I would feel like, oh, these are going to improve their team. Magnoa had some issues. Barron started out great, transferred from Tennessee, and then he just faded off. But maybe it's some scheme. And then Mimbo, I like Mimbo. But they got Beckham a couple years ago or a few years ago, and he was supposed to be this athletic big dude. I don't like the pick of Mason Taylor. I think he could be a starter for them, but I mean they don't really. I mean, they got Tyler Conklin, but other than that, there's not a lot there. But I just don't know if I draft Mason Taylor in the second round. I don't know if that warrants a second round pick for the third best tight end in the draft. I don't think he is that impactful at LSU. So, but he's Jason Taylor's son, so I've got Dolphin, and Taylor's a Dolphin and a Hurricane coach. So I'm like, it's hard not to root for them. I do like the Arian Smith pick out of Georgia, the wide receiver. I think that's a good pick for them. But this is another one. Like, they're gonna need these guys to hit. Like, Taylor has to hit. He's got to become the tight end they're looking for, the tight end one. Mimbo's got to be what we think he is in the freakish athlete. And Thomas out of FSU, the corner. Uh, Man, that's another one. Like, he's going to have to exceed some expectations a little bit. I just don't know. If this is a team that is really needs these guys to do well. This is the Jets, but you're right. It seems like the same draft every year for them. Like, they just won't deviate from this playbook of theirs.
Yeah, I felt like, because when I was looking at this draft, I was like, I'm having deja vu. Like, I feel like I've already seen this. So
Yeah,
I didn't love any of the picks. I didn't hate really any of the picks. It was just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I mean,
it's
we'll
the Jets.
see. We'll see. So,
Yeah,
well, let's move on to the Carolina Panthers. Carolina, there was like mixed feelings with what they did in the first round. But I think getting McMillan from Arizona was the right move. I really do. And we had a Panthers fan in our live draft little show that we had going on. Shout out to all of you guys who joined us there. And he actually he said that he really liked the pick because you're giving Bryce Young a weapon. You're giving him a true number one. Xavier Legette did show signs of, flashes of maybe being a number one, but he never really stood out. And I think getting
yeah,
McMillan is giving Legette that balance now, right? Not all eyes are on Legette. Now it's going to have to go to McMillan. And McMillan, he's a big dude. He's going to be a security blanket for Bryce Young and the Panthers. They were looking good there towards the end of the year. And then they go out and they get the two edge rushers on day 2 from Texas A&M and Mississippi, who I think that they have really high ceilings, both of these guys. Like, really high ceilings. They could be really, like, premier pass rusher guys. So I like what Carolina did. From a Bucks fan, I like what Carolina did. I didn't love it. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, I gotta pay respect to where I should.
yeah. I don't like the pick right off the bat. I don't. I don't have McMillan as even my number one wide receiver in this draft. He's a good wide receiver. He actually didn't have a bad game against Travis Hunter. He was able to use his body a little bit, but he had to make spectacular catches against Hunter. Like, he made a one-handed grab in the corner of the end zone. Like, I mean, and it is against Travis Hunter. I get it. I just don't know. I felt like in that division, there's some where if you were going to go wide receiver, I might have went Golden. That's a little bit of a speedster, or maybe just another direction. I actually like the guys which we're going to talk about with the Texans that come up later. I feel like they got the best pair of wide receivers out there. I do like their second day draft picks with Scroton at A&M, and then I'm not going to even pretend and ruin this guy's name out of Mississippi. But Scroton is a good,
Princely,
yeah, yeah. Princely, we can go by his first name,
yeah.
Princely. I like those guys. I think those are their best two picks of this draft for sure. I'm not a fan of Tectora. Like, not a fan. I just don't know if is he worth the eighth pick in the draft? No. I think there was other guys that we're going to see down the road that probably would have opened that offense up. I mean, you pass up on Tyler Warren. The guy helps to run. And I just think there's some guys there that they probably could have addressed. I just don't love that pick at all. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'd probably give it like a B minus. I think there's something else they could have done. But their second day is good. I think they did a really good job in the second day.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think McMillan he was able to compete, right? He was able to compete for those 50-50 balls, and everyone was just like, well, he couldn't create separation. You don't create separation in the NFL unless if you're like a Tyreek Hill. So I think that when you see a guy like McMillan and he can go up and he can win those 50-50 balls and he can box out those defenders like he does, that's what I like to see. That's why I think he is worthy of the eighth overall pick.
He's got a division that is favorable, except for Atlanta. I think when you watch him, I
Well,
don't think he has good games against Atlanta, but I think you're going to see decent games against the Bucks and the Saints. I think Atlanta's going to shut him
whoa,
down because of
whoa,
their
whoa.
secondary.
What?
But there's no like super strong corner on the Bucks or the Saints. So I think you see some good games there, but I don't know what their whole schedule looks like, but I think you're gonna see some stuff there. I mean, if he's their number one, they really don't have a number two, so they can give him this guy a little more attention, and he's not going to blow you up
Well,
over the
Xavier
top.
Leggett. They got it. They got Leggett.
And again, he's good for interviews. I don't. I honestly, I felt like if they were going to go wide receiver, I think the Bucks took the better of the wide receiver. I have McMillan maybe 4 or 5 on my list. I think Ibuka is better than him. He's a better route runner, faster, and just the route running skills and his IQ are so high. I think that would have been a better pick for them.
Well, I mean,
So,
I'm not going to argue with I'm not going to argue
oh,
with
Tampa, because
saying
yeah,
with saying that. So, but time will always tell it with these.
yeah.
Let's go on to the other NFC South team with the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to tell you this right now, Carlos. I loved everything that the New Orleans Saints did because nothing of this draft scared me. I'm not worried about the Saints 1 minute, man. I am not worried about them.
Oh,
They
I
are going to continue to go down the rabbit hole of irrelevancy because this draft was horrible in my opinion. But for me as a Tampa fan, it was fantastic. I loved every pick that they did.
I'm not going to disagree with you with this one. I think Calvin Banks is a good pick for them. I think he'll be a solid player on that O line for them. I don't know the Tyler Sal pick. I think he's better than people think. I know we keep seeing the combine throw,
All
but
right.
he made some throws at Louisville that were pretty impressive. But the problem is there's a chance this guy's going to be the starter, and if he's a starter, I think they're a 2 to 4 win team at that point. I just don't know if I love that pick that early. I don't think I'd make that pick at number 40 where he went. I would have went another direction and just hope Derek Carr ease that relationship and bring Carr back. Like I
Yeah.
would have picked up something that will probably get Carr involved. Like, hey, we got Banks to protect you. What do you want at 2? Let's look at some needs here. I'm looking at the list now.
I will say this. All right, relax, Saints fans. You knew it was coming. We hate each other. But we love to hate each other. So don't hate. But I will say this. Devin Neal in the 6th round, I think, is a steal. I really think that's a really good pick.
Yeah, I think so too. It's probably their second best pick of the draft, but I don't think it helps you in any way. You have
No, it doesn't.
Kamara,
That's why I'm still
so
happy. That's why
like,
I am very happy with everything that they did.
yeah,
And to be completely honest with you, I'm not even too worried about Kelvin Banks. The guy was good. He was definitely good, but dude, we got some dogs on the defensive side of the ball with Tampa. So
yeah, but
I'm not
they're all
worried
on the
about it.
inside. There's no edge rusher on Tampa that I would be like, ooh,
Well, we have over 800 pounds on the inside now, dude. So let's go.
yeah,
But
yeah,
we'll get to Tampa another time because hey, just a reminder, Tampa not even in the top 15 as a pick, which means that we made the playoffs. So sorry Carolina, sorry New Orleans Saints, but hey, at least you guys got good draft picks, And you'll probably continue to be in the top 10 according to everything that you just did this draft. So keep it going. Keep it going. Let's go to the next team who I think did worse than the Saints, and that was the Chicago Bears.
I'm 100% on the opposite with you. I actually like their draft. Going back and looking at it, they get a tight end one that is a nightmare matchup for anybody over the middle.
But they already have a tight end, and they skipped Tyler Warren.
But I guess it's probably not going to fit their whatever their scheme's going to be. They get Luther Burden, who I have ahead of McMillan. Speedy guy, explosive. I think it's a great pick for there. They get Shamir Turner out of A&M, another guy who can help them in the middle of their defense. I'm looking at it, man. They did a good job, and they get the offensive tackle out of Boston College is going to help probably move to guard, but it's going to help that O-line. I think they just gave them two weapons. That's going to be a tough team, and you can see the transition of them moving more to the pass, which the NFL did that. So they don't need a huge running game. They still have Swift coming out of the backfield. He's serviceable, catches the ball well, and he doesn't run the ball that bad. I don't think it's a bad pick. If you could go back years and go, hey, we're going to draft Travis Kelce, you would be like, do it. Like, Kelce's a nightmare.
Not Travis Kelce, though.
We're going to see. But the guy is the best route running tight end that's come out since Kelce, and is a nightmare matchup for any linebacker. I don't care who it is. Any linebacker. This guy was putting up numbers against OSU, and he's played for Michigan. I think they were playing the punter at quarterback for a little bit.
Well, okay, so then at least the quality of quarterback isn't going to change for him.
Stop it. That was a good one. I like their first two picks. I think I would give both an A. Luther Burden's much better than I like Luther.
I do too. He's
second on my list. He's second on my list of receivers. I actually have Matthew Golden number one. But I like their draft. I mean, the back end is meh, but their first four picks, I'm okay with it. And those first two are going to their offense is going to be. And don't forget who's the head coach of that team now, an offensive mastermind, and Ben Johnson. So it's if we can't, are they that much off from the Bucs playing? The Bucs are playing defense. They're going to just try to outscore everybody.
I'll take Baker Mayfield over Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight now, yes, but I mean, if you go back to you went to second year Baker, you would be like, no, I don't want that guy.
Second year Baker led the Cleveland Browns to the playoffs. What are you talking about?
No, but you didn't want that guy.
Well, the Cleveland Browns won him back.
Yeah.
But he's definitely found a home here in Tampa. I don't know, man. I still can't get over the fact you have, and I'll probably, because I'm biased, I love Tyler Warren. Like, we know Tyler Warren.
We know.
So the fact that he wasn't the first tight end off the board is almost like a sin in my head. So I don't know. I think Loveland is a good tight end, but why? And you flipped quick, because Thursday you were like, what the hell are they doing?
I didn't think it was the right pick for them until day 2 when they got Luther Burden, and I'm like, oh, now I see the direction that they're going, and it makes sense. You're going to have DJ Moore, really good. Loveland, you're going to have Luther Burden. Also, this is going to be a really good receiving corps.
Again, I will remind you who their quarterback is, and that is Caleb Williams.
We're going to see.
We will see. I'm not a believer, and I will continue to hate. I got to hate for both me and Scooter because he's not here.
I swear, if you say that,
I'm going to
come
die
up.
on the hill. Caleb Williams is overrated and he's trash. That's exactly what Scooter would say. And then he would take a drink of an adult beverage.
Yeah, 100%. But I think it's good. Their Bears are going to have a really good offense with Ben Johnson, Caleb
Ben
Williams,
Johnson
and
makes a big difference, and I get it.
it makes
I
a huge.
do.
Look
I
at their
get
coach
it.
last year was dude that was drinking beer out of a paper sack. Like he was a terrible
That's a
head
football
coach.
guy right there. What are you talking about?
Man, that guy was a terrible coach. I could have done a better job than him.
All right, well, let's move on. I don't like the picks. Look at us, man, not agreeing. Whoa, what's going on? San Francisco. They kind of had the same, for me at least. I like Michael Williams. I love that pick. Pair him up with Nick Bosa off the edge. I think it's going to be a nightmare matchup. So I do like that pick. Day two, I feel like all of their day twos, they kind of stretched. I feel like they reached. I don't know if it was because of their position, and like where they were falling. So I don't know if they had to feel like that they had to go up and get a guy before he got off the board. But I don't like their day two. So it was kind of a neutral. And what are the 49ers? Like, what is the identity of the 49ers? I have never seen a franchise just explode so quickly from like superstars all over the place. Head coach is an absolute genius. Your defense is absolutely, magnificent. And then within 2 seasons from the Super Bowl, it completely explodes. You lose a lot of key players on the defensive side of the ball. And then you lose, Debo. He was kind of You don't know what Brandon Ayuk is going to be because the guy can't stay healthy. And now you're having contract issues with, with Brock Purdy. Kittle, he's just, drinking beers and loving life.
He's got the big extension, so
Well, yeah.
he's cool.
So
That's the
he's
only
fine.
thing that's mainstay there that's consistent.
I don't know what's going. Like, I don't know the identity of the 49ers anymore.
It's they're kind of like the Jets. It looks the same. They get some defensive guys. I like the Williams pick. He's a straight edge rusher. I would have probably went Walker. I think Walker holds the edge better, or even Stewart on there. Alfred Collins, big dude in the middle, not a bad pick. I think the 2 picks I like. They get Jordan James out of Oregon. That guy ran extremely angry at Oregon. I don't know who did what to this man, but he didn't. He ran with some real severe anger, and he's a muscular dude. I like the Curtis Shortcut at Indiana, the quarterback. They go late again on a quarterback like they did with Purdy. He's actually a better passer than Purdy, more of the pocket passer than Purdy is. So I don't hate that pick. They're known for drafting some guys late that turn out good, but it's an okay draft. I'm going through it. Nick Martin, linebacker, and they need it, but because they lose Greenlaw, linebacker, which is a huge loss for them. Lose Mufanga. You just see a lot of. They get Jordan Watkins out of Old Mississippi at wide receiver. He's not. So Mississippi wasn't a big school that threw the ball a lot. So I do like some of their picks. I think the Kevin York one is one to watch out for. If Purdy doesn't get this contract done, he's going to play. He's not going to hold out. But he better be careful that if they see things out of York in the offseason and through the season, they might run with this guy. Maybe like a J.J. McCarthy thing, like, hey, Purdy, you might be playing somewhere else, like Sam Darnold did.
Yeah.
He might be the next quarterback of the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, my God. You know what? PSA, Cleveland Browns are having an open tryout for a quarterback right now. I think I saw a poster up. So,
but doesn't Shanahan he can make any quarterback good in that system?
We saw everywhere that Shanahan goes, he makes the quarterback good.
He makes the quarterback good. So now you got a guy that you spent a 7th round pick on, and if he pans out for them and is serviceable, you got another 5 years under a rookie contract. That you don't have to pay a big quarterback, which could help them in other areas that they need in free agency. So, might be a good pick for them.
Could you imagine they just cycle like every 5 years? They just cycle through quarterback.
Yeah, and they draft running backs very well. Like they always have this
They
stable
do.
of running backs, and Jordan James is just another guy they're going to add to it. I think it's two good picks, and I don't hate their first two picks with Collins and Williams. Like I say, I would Williams. I think went a little bit earlier than I thought he was going to, but the guy gets after it. He can rush the passer.
Yeah, for sure. I'm very neutral on it, but I mean, whatever. I just don't know the identity of the 49ers anymore. It's just weird because I feel like they should be a threat, but I don't know if they're going to be. Maybe,
I don't. I don't think.
you
I
know?
think the Rams. Yeah, the Rams are taking over, and you see Arizona making some moves. I think
Yeah.
them and Seattle might be, but who knows? Maybe they get it back. God, didn't their old defensive coordinator come back? Shalea? I want to say
Oh,
he
yeah.
came back.
I think
So
so.
that defense
Did he?
might get its grit back. So that might be a good pickup for them. That might be their best offseason pickup. But I could have swore he went back.
He did. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, he
think
did.
that's going to be. I mean, I think that just gets that defense back to where it was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because he was good there. So, but
Yeah.
let's move on to the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys actually didn't have too bad of a draft, in my opinion. Tyler Booker off, in the first round. You got your offensive guard to, hopefully replace Zach Martin, which you lost during the offseason. My favorite pick, though, in this draft was the guy that they took in the third from East Carolina,
Ravel. Yeah.
Siobhan Ravel, dude. I
Yeah.
think with him and Trayvon Diggs, dude, that might be a problem. That might be a real problem.
I think, I hate to say it, I think the Cowboys actually made some good picks here. I love Booker. I love his quote was, "My goal is to make the other person quit football." That's
Yeah.
what I love that you want. Man, this guy he's ready to go. He's loved that he's drafted. The edge out of Boston College, underrated. We didn't cover him when we did our edge show, but he is underrated with Donovan. I'm not going to attempt his last name, but underrated edge guy, gets after the quarterback as well. He just played at Boston College, and you're not getting a lot of press there. The Ravel pick is good. I like the running back pick with Blue out of Texas. He's a good running back, man. Uh,
Yeah.
I like their draft. Even Shamir James, linebacker out of Florida, another guy. I don't think he starts, but a guy that will be a good rotation guy for them. So I like their draft. Just going through all of it, yeah, man, they had a good draft. I like it. They addressed a lot of needs on both sides of the ball. And I think
They did.
they're pleased with what they got.
Yeah, I think that they picked really smart. So I don't know if I really have any negatives to say about it. I don't think that they stretched. They had, I think, like 8 or 9 picks. So I mean, they had a healthy amount of picks this draft, and I think that they, did very well with each of those picks. So, to Tyler Booker, man, I'm excited to see what this guy does on the football field. So,
Yeah,
and had that quote with Micah Parsons, right? Because Micah Parsons interviewed him afterwards, and he said that quote with Micah Parsons, and Micah Parsons loves it. So he's gonna have to be going up against Micah Parsons too in practice. So that should be a good dude. That might energize, right? Because like Micah's always been trying to energize, and you saw
got
that.
a guy.
He's got a guy that's going to be able to match that energy on the other side. So maybe it will revitalize some stuff there. So let's go on to the Miami Dolphins. I see that you're representing them back there. And okay, how did you feel about the first overall pick with Kenneth Grant from Michigan? I know he's a good guy, but I just don't know. Maybe because they were trying to replace Christian Wilkins. I know that they lost him a couple of years ago. Your defensive line has had some, health injuries. You also addressed some offensive needs, but I feel like there was just some guys there that could have maybe filled your bigger holes, and they
I
didn't.
don't know. It's hard to argue. Like drafting Kenny Grant's like drafting an offensive lineman like Will Campbell. It's not sexy. They could have used some corner help. Miami has not had one thing on their D line and nobody in the middle at that 0 or 1 technique when they run their 3-4. So they need the big guy there. It's not a sexy pick. I like Grant. He's a good player. I think he's going to do a good job with them. And I even like the Salavanea pick in the second. I think that's their best pick. They move up to go get him, and it's so like I've heard people like, why would you move up? When you see the guy you want, you go up. Like the Giants with Jackson Dart, you want him, go get him because you don't know what somebody else is going to do. And the Dolphins have definitely been one to fall victim to. We're one pick away for our pick, and then boom, he's gone.
Yeah.
So I do like that pick on there. Jordan Phillips, not a bad pick out of Maryland. Gives them a little bit more depth there. I actually like their picks late. I love the Ollie Gordon pick late. If this guy gets back to
I was going to ask you if you like that pick.
I like that pick, and I don't hate the pick of Quinn Rivers. Ewers, sorry. I don't hate it. There's no pressure for him with Tua there. Hopefully he grows into a solid backup or a guy that, hey, this like Gino did for years. And then maybe one day he'll get his shot. But with Tua being concussion prone, I like the Ewers pick. You get him late, you get him in the 7th round. It's not really costing you anything. It could be a big pick for them. So I do like it. The Jason Marshall Jr. out of Florida, it's not a bad pick. He's definitely not Jalen Ramsey, but it's not a bad pick. I wish they would have addressed they get Dante Trader Jr. out of Maryland for the safety. I wouldn't have not hated that 13 if Malik Starks showed up at 13 at that safety spot. I would not have hated that whatsoever at all. But I mean, it's not a bad draft. Not a sexy draft for them. It's the draft of needs that they need, and their first 2 picks address two big holes that they need. So we're gonna see.
Yeah. I was very curious. I'm glad that you addressed that because I was curious to see what you thought of the Quinn Ewers and honestly the Ollie Gordon pick because I've liked the Ollie Gordon pick. I think that is going to be helpful. But let's go to Indianapolis Colts. They got my guy. They hit a home run with this draft because they got Tyler freaking Warren, football dude, just big tight end. I love it. I absolutely love it. But in all honesty, I really do like that pick. He's going to help in the pass blocking, right, which they're going to need. And he's going to be a safety valve for Anthony Richardson. Overall, I think Indianapolis did a very good, safe draft. I don't think that they went out and they got anybody too flashy. They just got the guy, they got the football guy at their spot. And that's what I feel like that they needed to do. Even though, as much as I know that he probably isn't going to pan out, but you never know. But I even still like the Riley Leonard pick because I like his. I like the. He's a dude. He has that. He's
a less athletic Daniel Jones.
Yeah, but he has moxie, and I like that from a quarterback.
I need that from a quarterback. I need actual talent. I'm gonna tell you their 2 picks.
They have Anthony Richardson, so I'm just.
That's like. Other than Peyton Manning, they don't draft quarterbacks very well. The 2 picks I do like for them, excluding Tyler Warren, I think it's a great pick. They just got a young George Kittle. I think he can't miss, and they needed a tight end very badly. I like the DJ Gideon's pick at running back. How Gideon's fell that far, I'll never know. He's a good running back out of K-State. The guy is. I don't know how he fell that far. And the other one I do like is I like their 2nd round pick with Tulamala, JT. I just had his name roll off my tongue no
JT Tumaloa or something.
Yeah.
We'll get blown up in the comments because we don't know how to pronounce names.
Yeah, it makes it incredible. It's a good pick for them. Good guy off the edge, and with so many edge rushers this year. That position is 10 deep where you can be like, this is a good guy to pick. And I don't think they read for him. I do like that pick. I like the Tim Smith out of Alabama that they got late too. Big dude in the middle can clog up some space for him. I don't like the Riley Leonard pick. I think it's a waste of a pick. Riley Leonard cannot throw a football to save his life. And I don't know how in the heck
He went to the
I,
national championship, dude.
yeah, I don't care what he went to. That guy can't throw a football. If you tell Riley Leonard to throw a 15-yard out, he's going to probably no. I think it's a
Come
stupid pick.
on.
6th round, though, I get it, but I don't like it. I don't. He's holding the clipboard for the backup.
But he has moxie.
I don't care what he's got. He's got
All right.
something on him. It just isn't skill.
All right. Let's move forward. Let's move on to the other NFC South team who had another top 15 pick because they didn't make the playoffs. And that's just what happens when you're not successful the year before. They were very successful though in this draft. I have really nothing negative to say. Their draft terrifies me. Carlos. How in the world did you get the most? Did you get by far the two most productive SEC edge rushers of the entire draft, and you got them? You got them at number 15, and then they were just like, you know what? James Pierce is still there. Let's just move it and get him now. And then they got Xavier Watts from Notre Dame. How the hell did what? This has Eagles kind of written all over it, right? Because the Eagles, they just get guys and you don't know how they got them. But they traded to get these guys. You have Jalen Walker, you have James Pierce Jr., you have Xavier Watts to go along with a defense that has already been pretty successful in the past and kind of a headache, especially in their secondary. Now they can get after the pass rush. My only hope and wish is that we could do Tristan Wirfs on both sides of the line. No disrespect to Luke Gedeke because I think that he's a solid right tackle, but I would really feel comfortable with Tristan Wirfs on both sides of the line.
Well, he's a big dude, but he ain't that big. I like the draft. I don't know if I like how much they gave up to move it to get James Pierce, but edge was a huge problem for them, and they may have solved it. So if both of these guys
you said,
pan
if your
out,
guy is there, go up and get him.
yeah, I'm a proponent of it. If he's there, go get him. And that's what the edge for them was a huge problem last year. They could not get to the passer at all. They go get Judon, that doesn't work out, and they tried Dante Fowler. They just tried so much with veterans and it didn't happen. Walker's a beast, plays the run, gets to the quarterback, and James Pierce just makes plays. Like I don't know what to tell you. And Xavier Watts in the 3rd round, I don't understand it. The guy's a good safety with Notre Dame. Notre Dame had a great secondary. That's just a good. I don't know how to explain that, but this is a really deep draft, so I don't like anything else. Billy Bowman's okay, but those first 3 picks definitely are going to revamp that defense. I'm hoping that they put a lot of stock in these 2 guys, but if Jalen Walker is proven his 6'1" stature doesn't seem to be an issue because he threw up 3 sacks against Texas with Calvin Banks. And he put pressures everywhere else. And he can drop into coverage, which I love. He's not one-dimensional like
No,
Malik
he's
Williams.
not. He's a Swiss Army knife on that defense.
Yeah. So I like it. I like the Xavier Watts. They need defensive help, and they got it. They don't need anything on offense. They're okay.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, who would have thought, in hindsight, that the Michael Penix pick might have been actually a really good pick? Because they should have had Dallas Turner last year. They didn't. They got Michael Penix. Everyone was like, what the hell? Dallas Turner falls, I think, all the way to like number 18 to Minnesota. He doesn't pan out. Now this year, Michael Penix is going to be their starter because Kirk Cousins didn't pan out after they paid him mega bucks. And now they got probably 2 better edge rushers than Dallas Turner. How did this work? If Scooter was here, he would still never give credit to Raheem Morris. So, I know that there would be something.
If these 3 guys pan out for Atlanta, we're going to talk about it later.
It's going to suck.
This is my division win.
Nope.
I mean, they
We're
got the
going
best.
for 5 straight this year. 5. Come on, man. All right, let's end it. Because we'll go to the Bucks. There are a few more picks down because we made the playoffs. That's what happens.
Next episode, yeah.
Yeah, their next episode. They're more of the second episode team. And all the other NFC South are more the first episode. So anyway, Arizona Cardinals 16. Not mad at their God, dude. You know, let's just talk. How the hell did they get? Why is Will Johnson in Arizona on the second day?
I thought they had a good draft.
And then they got Walter Nolan, great defensive tackle. Will Johnson, probably the best defensive back in this year's draft, right? I know injuries were a scary thing, but my God. Yeah, I mean, come on. And then they go and get Cody Simmons in the 4th round from Ohio, or Simmons, not Simmons, but Cody Simmons from Ohio State, linebacker. Dude, I like what Cardinals did, but Will Johnson on day 2.
If somebody told me Will Johnson was going to 47, I'd probably be like, man, the first rounder. But the injury scared everybody. I mean, he missed his pro day. He missed most of last year. The year before that, he had an injury. So it scares him away. But, you know, he's got time to heal up. Man, he's a good corner. That's probably a steal for him. I like Walter Nolan on there. I like Jordan Burks out of the edge rusher out of Oregon, another twitchy guy that is probably going to help them out do some damage on that turf, especially playing on turf. That's one thing with Oregon; they're known for their speed on there. But I like it. Cody Simmons, I think, an OSU guy, so you know he's a hard worker. On it, they really didn't have a bad draft. Like if you look at the schools where they're drafting, these are taking a page out of Philly's book. We're just going to go get the good players off the best teams in college, except for Walter Nolan with Mississippi. But I mean, the guy's a beast. So
yeah,
good. It's good for them. I mean, they needed. They could not play defense to save their life, and they just addressed that side of the ball. Went got an offensive line to help out there. I don't think their offense is that their issue. It's literally that defensive side of the ball, and they needed some major help.
Yeah, definitely. So, but let us know if we addressed your team. Let us know down there in the comments to, who you liked. If you think who's going to be your stud. Tyler Warren, I know he's going to be a stud. Loveland, I don't think so. So, but let us know down there in the comment section who you think who you like your team pick. Next week we're going to be addressing picks 17 through 32. So be sure to tune in next Friday for those. But like, share, comment, hit that subscribe button. You know what to do. Follow us on all of our social medias. We're on at all Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Go ahead and follow us on there. Fridays, every Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us. Listen to it on your way home. Listen to it on your lunch break. Listen to it on your way to work. Listen to it when your wife is bugging you and you just don't want to hear her anymore.
Just listen to it.
Just listen to it. But we will see you guys next Friday. Until then,